Hello everyone. I've got this Echo Park stored in this little package that I made after watching a May video. I just thought I'd show you that. Great way to keep your 6x6 paper pad. So we're going to be working with this Echo Park February 2024 Cardmakers kit. And I have got some scrap pieces that I think are going to work out great for some of the KCC 13 designs. So what I'm planning to do is just pull in some of my scraps. I made a card with this kit on my channel earlier, and I have some scrap pieces from it, and I'm going to bring a couple of the KCC 13 sketches to this. Actually, I'm going to use 1 and 2. Right now I'm just looking at ephemera and trying to figure out if any of these would work for the square that I need on the Sketch 1 design. And I found this one, and it's pretty close. So I'm going to go ahead and grab it and use it. And then I've got this scrap piece of black and white check pattern that I really like, and it'll work well for that design. So here's the design that I'm going to use. And I'm going to use that red with black polka dot paper, and I'm going to cut it down according to the sketch. Right here I've got it. And I'm going to bring in actually my card base next, and I'm going to use a colored card base. I'm actually going to use red this time. I rarely use a colored card base, but I had a piece of paper that was cut exactly right, and I thought I'll just score it in some cardstock and get it scored, and we'll just use a red card base. Now the reds don't match, so I'm going to bring in this black, and I'm going to lay it down onto my card base, and it'll be my first panel. And so I'm just going to get some glue and just get it laid down on there, and this will be the base for our design. And so we'll just line it up, and then we'll start to work on our card. And I think that'll look really good with that nice little edge around there. So I had an incredibly busy day. The kids, the grandkids, the grandsons really were very active and kind of wore me out for the day. And I'm just getting to card making kind of late after dinner. So I've cut this down to be the appropriate square size that we need for the design, and then I'm just going to lay my ephemera on it. It was pretty close. It'll put a nice little edge on there, but that'll make it the right size for the design, and I think it'll work out just fine. So I'll just get it lined up. Anyway, so the grandkids, let's see, what all do they do today? Well, at one point they got real quiet, and I wondered what they were doing. And the oldest one had gotten up on the table in the kitchen and got a bag of M&Ms down, and they were both sitting, hiding behind the table, up against the wall and the window, and they were just sitting down there, just having a heyday, eating all these little M&Ms. So I caught them in the act, was able to video it and send it to the family so they could get a big kick out of it. But they were down there just munching on those M&Ms. Now I'm going to take this black and white check, and I'm going to create strips, just like the design calls for, and we'll get them laid down on here. And so back to the story. So then anyway, so we got the M&Ms cleaned up, and they, and of course they were incredibly thirsty after having those, so I had to get them some water and get them situated with that. And then, of course, they were full of energy as well. And so they got to playing and kind of roughhousing because they're boys. And got into my curtains and actually pulled the curtain rod down and actually pulled it out of the wall. So I had that going on. So it was a pretty busy day. I was like, oh my gosh, what's next? Anyway, but they were, other than that, they were in pretty good spirits. They had a lot of fun and were very active, and I was just kind of worn out after they got done. I got out the sweeper and just started sweeping because they love the sweeper. And of course then they wanted, after I got everything swept and the sweeper put away, then they wanted Cheerios. And so they were eating the Cheerios, and the youngest one always dumps his bowl. He's only 18 months, so I give him grace for that because he's just a little one. And then by then they were so tired. Then my youngest daughter came over with her dogs, and they just ran and played in the backyard with them, and then it was time to go home. So I was ready for them to go home at that point because I was tired and they'd gotten into everything. So anyway, so here's my card. I pretty much got it all laid down. I laid my strips down, and I'm going to put this down onto my card base, and this will actually pull together sketch 1. Now the sketch does have some enamel dots listed on it, and I don't show it on here, but I do wind up putting some enamel dots on the card. I'm going to go ahead and bring in this banner as well. The sketch does not call for this banner, but I knew I had it in the ephemera pack, and I thought it would add some additional interest to it. So I went ahead and brought it in and got it laid down. And then I've got a strip that I had cut. It had moved and I didn't cut it right. So I'm just going to lay it down on the inside of my card, and I'll get it lined up, and then we'll just trim it off, and that will add a little bit of interest to the inside of our card. We'll just flip it over and cut it off. On the back side of that's a cute little ladybug pattern, so I thought it was super cute. So I will put those black enamel dots on there, but and you can see it right here where I've put them on. And then we're just going to grab this other strip that was remaining from that, and it'll work perfectly for the sketch 2 design. It was almost exactly the size that I needed. And I also had a panel in here that I think will also work for it. So I'm just going to grab it and get it laid down, and then I had I have a bin that I throw scrap white in, and so I have one that's almost perfect. I'm just going to take it and cut it down, and I'll use this for my trim pattern around this black and white, and I think it'll look nice. And now I'm going to need to look for some type of a square that I can turn on its side and use for the center of this card. And I'm just going to look at what I've got. And I've got my black enamel dots because this sketch also calls for them. And then I find this ladybug that's got a little frame around it, and I think, well, that'll look really cute on there. So I'm going to grab it, and that's what I'm going to use for the focal point on this card. Now it does have a pop out in there, so that little ladybug that's laying in the center will actually pop out on it. And so I will eventually pop that out. But right now I'm going to bring in my card base, and I'm going to make this one a top folding and just score it 5.5, and we'll get it scored. And I'm just going to go with the white hammer mill since we did the last one with some color, and I'll just begin building my card base, and I'll use this little frame and the little pop out. I'm going to bring in some black and square it off and make it the appropriate size, and then we'll just layer those up. So we'll get our red panel laid down here, and then we'll begin laying the rest of our elements. So anyway, my youngest daughter came so that we could go out to dinner together. So we wound up going out to the Mexican restaurant and had dinner, and got to visit with her, so that was nice. She's usually very busy with her work schedule, but we enjoy the opportunity to have dinner with her tonight. So that was fun. And we are expecting storms. In fact, it said we're supposed to get hail and tornadoes. So I'm hoping that it'll miss us. The radar looks pretty good right now, but they've had a lot of chatter about us getting this weather in our area. So we'll see. Like I said, the radar does look pretty good, and I'm hopeful that it will miss us. So I'm just going to lay this panel down, and then I'll bring in my black and white check pattern and get it laid down on there. Now last year, my oldest daughter, who lives probably, I'm guessing less than a mile away from us, maybe. Yeah, she would be less than a mile. They actually had a tornado that did damage to their house and their vehicles, and destroyed some houses around them. So she was not very happy and a bit nervous about the projected weather. So I'm hoping that it will just miss us all and we won't have to worry about that. But they, I think, have finally got their house. Their next door neighbor, whose house was destroyed, has been rebuilt, but it's not been finished, and she has been out of her home this whole time. So I think they're getting close, but she's still not there, and I think it's been a good year. I'm not sure the date of that. I can't really recall, but anyway, so hopefully we won't have any bad weather. So I laid that frame down, and my black panel's bigger than that, and I thought I'd just pop it up in there, and I thought that black would just kind of help the ladybug panel to stand out over that, and I was really pleased with how that turned out. And now I'm just going to go back to my ephemera pack and see if I can find some kind of a sentiment for this that I could lay down on there. And so I'm just looking around, and I found this "Oh Happy Day," and it had some little white nubs on there, so I was just cutting that off. And I'm just going to pop this up and get this laid down on there as well. And just peel off the backer tape. And I believe I'm going to add some enamel dots to this, just as the sketch shows as well. And then that will finish off this card. And I just love this paper pack and the ephemera pack. I think it's super cute. I'm excited. I want to continue to work with it. And so here's sketch 1 and 2 of KCC 13. And I'm just cleaning off some glue. And I think they turned out really nice. I hope you like them. And thanks for watching, and have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.